Hello, world! I'm Frank Boucher. Welcome on the show. Today it's a very special episode, so that's why I have my old partner in crime. Let's put it that way. Jason, how are you, my friend?
Hi, Frank. I'm doing great. I'm really excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this for a while. It's kind of the end of the season and end of the year, and just a nice little way to cruise into the last part of the year here.
Yeah. So today, I was looking to have something cool, and I tweeted to the community. I asked the Twitter sphere. Hey, anybody has a cool demo they want to show and stuff like that? And guess what? Everybody who answered me, we had a chat and stuff like that, and I will present you today 4 of them, like 5, but 4 demos.
Yeah.
So let's do a tour right now. Let's bring the first one, Andy. Hello, Andy. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thanks for having me on, Frank and Jason.
Hi, Andy.
You want to share briefly what your demo will be about?
We're talking or looking at sim racing telemetry, or basically racing game telemetry, and what that can bring.
Interesting. So it's serious. If my manager is watching, this is serious. It's not gaming stuff. It's like real thing.
Yes.
Coming next, 2 women. So we have Carmen and Luise. And Prod is having fun because we have so many guests today on the show. Hello, how are you?
Very good. Thank you for having us.
Carmen, you want to describe briefly your the demo of today?
Yeah, sure. We're going to be talking about ProvisionGenie, an open source provisioning solution for Microsoft Teams that is about more than just creating the team.
Oh, interesting. And coming next is, I don't want to mix the order. Michael is the next one.
Hello, how are you doing?
Pretty fine. Very excited to have this episode. So many people, very exciting. So what do we talk with you today?
We're going to use mixed reality with a Microsoft HoloLens on fixing a car.
Whoa, excellent. Like I said, boss, it's serious. Like very, very serious episode. And we finish with Aaron. Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Pretty good. Excited. So what your demo will be about?
We're going to talk about gRPC with ASP.NET 6 and Visual Studio for the Mac 2022 Preview 4.
Oh, excellent. And all of that running from a Mac, I think, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. .NET runs everywhere. It's going to be great.
Oh, wow, awesome. I love that. So all along, if you have question in the chat, there's chats, there's comment if you're watching in replay on demand. Ask your question. I will make sure the question reach the good person, and we'll answer it live or like back in the comment, depending on when you answer. So, and all the links, now Ryan is going before me. All the links, all that will be shared during the show. Don't panic. Try to remember everything they say. Everything is in the show note available at this link. Jason, I'm ready. Are you ready?
We've got a jam-packed 60 minutes, at less than 60 minutes now, show of all kinds of really just like amazing stuff. These demos, I've gotten to see just a little bit of them, and I'm super excited. So yeah, maybe we shouldn't wait too much longer and get right to it.
Yeah, let's bring back Andy. Hello, sir.
Hello again.
So Andy, can you introduce quickly yourself? Who are you?
I'm Andy. I'm a Microsoft MVP, and I've been broadcasting development on Twitch for about 5 years. Now, this whole thing came around because I like a bit of gaming here and there, and this is what I'm going to try and show you today.
Wonderful. So we met a few days ago. We recorded a demo. So let's watch this, and we'll come back with a live Q&A. So Andy, I want to learn more. I'm all about it. So show me your project. Talk me about it.
Okay, so the first project I'm going to show you is something I do for iRacing, which is a game for racing cars. And this is all about sending telemetry to a Twitch extension. Now, when I first created it, I did that in WPF. And recently I've been moving that across to a Blazor Electron application. And then as soon as we get out of preview, I will be moving it to Blazor Maui application. But that's sort of where we're going with that. So if you can show me code now, Frank.
Yeah.
What we've got here is we have that WPF application. And if I start it up, what it does, it says, oh, I need to add you to Twitch. Once you're logged into Twitch, it'll tell you a few other things. So hang on. So as you saw there, it disappeared. And then we have this. So I am logged in as my iRacing account. It's part of this Twitch application. It tells you that the extension is not running and that iRacing is not running. Now, what I've done is that's all well and good. But what people wanted, they wanted to be able to display those overlays locally. And because the Twitch extension is HTML and CSS, I thought, hey, a Blazor application would be nice for that, because then I can make that same overlay that I use on the Twitch extension local and just have it within a window. Now, at the time, the easiest way to do that is Electron. So at this moment in time, we will load up the Blaztron app. Is what I call it, because it's Blazor and Electron. You know, nice play on words there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just set that as a start project, and away we go. So as this loads up, what it is almost exactly the same as the previous one, where it asks you to log in and then you go into the actual application itself. This one may not ask you to log in because I've been working on it quite a lot recently. So there's the nice little splash screen. The application loads. I know we're in debug mode, so it does take a little bit of time. It initializes, does a few calls to Twitch, and almost exactly the same screen as we had before. So iRacing is not loaded. We haven't been connected to the telemetry, and the extension is not loaded. Now, the new bit is this overlays button, so that will become full screen on how many other screens you have, and you can move bits around and stuff like that. Oh. So this is where I've been working on and moving towards recently. So that's that application. Of course, it's still running in tray, so we'll just remove that. So that's where we're sort of moving to. And then, of course, with Maui, that Electron gets replaced with the Maui side of things, but you still get the Blazor. So it's just the wrapper around it that I will be changing. That was part one, which I think is very much still a Windows, hey, here's the telemetry stuff that we're not going to be sort of using too much. And that telemetry gets sent to Twitch. Now, that is the bit that I'm going to show you next. We have a separate application over here, which is a little console application which actually connects to Forza and other games. So what I did last year was created a nice little package that can connect to iRacing, Forza Motorsport 7, Forza Horizon 4, now Forza Horizon 5 as well, and all the Formula 1 titles. 21 I haven't done yet, but I will do. And that is available up in the internet and on NuGet. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this console application. And if you can see on my Windows taskbar, you can see Forza down in the bottom there. And at the moment, this is the data that we get. We're not in a race. We're not in a car. We haven't got any class, or we're not in any particular drivetrain. So let's
like
go.
You're in the menu. Yeah.
we're just. Oh, look at that! We are in the menu. So we get into the car, and instantly you can see we get acceleration, velocity information, positioning within the system, what gear we're in. If you can see at the top of the title bar there, we're in car 2188. So the car list is for all the past Forza and Forza Motorsports as well. So what happens is there's one accumulated car list. So I think Forza Horizon 5 has 570.
I don't know. I just started to play. I have a few. I just have a few hundred. No, I have a few cars, but I don't know how many, but a lot.
Yes, so it has quite a lot of cars. So what we're going to do is we're going to move that across there and move this across here. Oh, again, we're in the menu again. And then what you can see is, let me try and reposition this. As you can see, accelerators at 100%, and then steering at 100 or minus 100 in the bottom right there. And then once we, way. I'm trying to do this on keyboard, so excuse the rather
We're not
naff
judging
driving.
the driving skills today.
As you can see, the gears going up. We're in 5th gear now. The RPMs changes. And then, of course, when we crash and inevitably go out to sea, we get replaced. So that's the data we're collecting from Forza. And what we are doing with that is actually pushing it out to Cosmos. So I'm just trying to find the right observer. So I disabled it temporarily. And what we're going to do is we're going to push it out to Cosmos DB. So what we're doing is every time we get data, which is, I believe, 60 times a second, we are collecting that data, transforming it a little bit, and then pushing out to a Cosmos row. And that is what I'm going to be using in the future for Twitch extensions or even session telemetry data. So you can see where you might have been on the map over a whole session. So it tracks your position using the GPS coordinates. So you could overlay every single track that you've been, and you could play it as if you were sort of playing it in real time, all sped up, etc.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you will be able to have some kind of a replay or something like that.
Yes.
Super interesting. Is it open source? People can find some parts online?
So the stuff, the actual data you're seeing in the console application, that is done by a NuGet package that I created called Telemetry, and that is for all those games that I was discussing before. And then we have iRacing, which is IR SDK Sharp, which is the next one, and both those links are in the links below.
Notes. Wonderful. You know what? I'm sure people have tons of questions, so let's join them to see the question in the chat. Thank you. Questions? Everybody's talking about cars.
It's a really fun demo. Yeah. I mean, Andy, obviously you showed off Forza there, and there's some other I guess sims that you can get data out of. But I got a quick question for you before we get to some of the ones from the audience, if you don't mind.
No, don't mind at all.
But yeah, so I'm curious how you got into like telemetry data. Like what drew you to that kind of stuff?
To be honest, it was a case of I found it by accident and went, "Ooh, this is interesting." And then as I dug deeper, it very much came about that I was very sort of interested in what I could do with that and how I could collect it and display it to others. So it was very much, how do I get this data from me and put it out there for the people that are watching my streams maybe, or other people's streams? And that's sort of what got me into it originally. And then we've expanded since then, and this whole replay and analysis thing is coming up sort of soon.
That's cool. So I know you picked the .NET kind of family of programming language, because that's where you're more familiar, I'm assuming. But yes. What make you pick the CosmoDB as a database?
That was mainly around about the speed of Cosmos, because you can, and also the cost of it, because it's not an expensive container. So on the sort of the monthly sort of usage and cost, just for my data, it was very easy to write it, and then you can pick that out and analyze it later on. And it didn't require much setup at all. It's like hey, there's my container, there's all the data, and it's very, very simple, quick, and easy to use.
Okay, cool. Time is flying. Jason, about 50 seconds. Do you see any questions?
Well, I think it might be, I'm curious why Blazor was your choice during this whole thing. And I know you mentioned Maui too in the time we have left. Share your thoughts around those two things?
Okay, so Blazor is mainly because my extension runs in a HTML and CSS and JavaScript. But Blazor seemed to be the new thing, the nice new shiny technology, but also very useful because it's got the whole SignalR thing all built in for you, so the updates of the HTML are very easy. Razor pages, which people are used to, especially if they're in the .NET ecosystem, and that's where we sort of move forward, and we are I think it's me trying to use the new stuff so I learn as well as everyone else.
Wonderful, wonderful. Time is flying. We need to move to the next segment. So thank you for sharing. So Andy will now be in the chat for all your questions, car-related or tech-related. And let's bring our next guest. So Carmen and Luise. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Or Demo Goddess, I think that was your nickname in the chat. Like that.
No, I said that I already bribed the demo goddesses.
Oh, excellent. Since you already start, do you want to introduce yourself, Luise?
Yeah, so hi, my name is Luise Freese. I'm from Germany. I'm an M365 consultant and developer with Power Platform.
Excellent. And an MVP.
And an MVP, yes.
And now, Carmen, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, I'm Carmen. I'm a Power Platform architect based in Belgium, and I also like to speak and blog about my experiences.
Wonderful. And so I had the chance to meet you both a few days ago and record this demo of yours. So let's watch that, and we'll come back after for a live Q&A. So I want to know more about ProvisionGenie. So Carmen, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. Let me first start by explaining why how ProvisionGenie came to be. And this was when Luise and I had a conversation probably a little over a year ago, when we were talking about provisioning solutions for Microsoft Teams in general. And we came to the conclusion that what was currently available at that time, and still now as well, doesn't really suit the needs of the users. Because when you use the built-in provisioning solution from Microsoft Teams, which is simply the create a team button, you get an empty team with a general channel, the file step, and a wiki, and that's it. And people need to start filling that, which is not easy because they don't know Teams. On the other hand, when you have a template to provision a team with specific channels already in place, and then maybe some applications or some tabs in those channels, that also doesn't meet the user's needs, because there might be too much, or there might still be something missing. And the problem is that people can't really articulate their needs. And that is how ProvisionGenie came to be, because we wanted to blend learning with the process of requesting the team, so that it's not just creating the team, but people in the meantime, while they are using our solution, they are also learning about what is Teams about, and how does it work? What do I need to think of? What is important? And if I can share my screen now, then I can go a little bit over the core concepts of ProvisionGenie, what we are using in our solution. And we are using Power Apps for the front end, for the user interface. In the back end, we are using Azure Logic Apps to take care of the logic. For security, we are using Managed Identity. We are storing the data in Dataverse. And because we want this to be an open source solution which is easily deployable, we also care about deployment with ARM template files, and we have documented everything. Because now I've gone really quickly over these core concepts, but if you look at our documentation, you can find more detailed information about why we chose these components and why we didn't go for alternatives. It's all very well documented there. in the architecture decisions, and also what we are still working on is documented there as well.
Okay, we'll provide all the links in the show notes, by the way. So if everyone is searching for those links, they will be down below.
Perfect. And I guess we can then jump into the demo, right, Luise?
I think so. So I'm ready if you are. Okay,
yes,
so what
I'm
you
ready.
can see here right now is ProvisionGenie is already added as a personal app into the app bar on the left-hand side, and we are greeted on the welcome screen where we can find all kinds of learning content. As we said, we wanted to blend learning and provisioning, and we see there are just like 4 main challenges to win in teams, and it's of course about collaboration and working with files, staying on track with all of your tasks, have meaningful conversations, succeed in meetings, all kind of that. So we won't go intensively about this right now, but this is learning content provided to you in these beautiful pop-ups. And once our user feels like, hey, now I know enough so that I know what is Teams about, they can start the provisioning process. And as you might see, we have a sidebar as well. So we guide our users through each and every single screen in this application so that they know what they are required to do here. So we will now start the provisioning process. And we will go for a team name, perhaps ProvisionGenie or ProvisionGenie demo or something like that, a team description. We're awesome. Oh, we have something already in Clipper. That's nice as well. We will be asked if you want to have a welcome package, which is more learning content displayed as a tab to our team. And we will be asked if you wanted to have a SharePoint list for our personal and group task management in our team. So this is because we don't like the Planner API, which does not provide us with application level permissions, and will therefore not go with a managed identity approach, but we offer a nice alternative for our users. So Carmen will select next, and the next thing that we will do is we will be adding some of our co-workers as team members and as additional owners. So we all know it's a very good practice to have more than one owner in a team, so we will add them right here. They will all be collected. We will save this information and move forward. Next thing is we want to have some channels. So it could be nice to have a channel for the Logic apps, channel for the Canvas app, and so on. Perhaps some Dataverse. So you see we're listing the tools that we use in our solution. We save this as well. Next is I want to have an additional library, perhaps for images, and this comes with a nice description, perhaps, which would then be multiple lines of text. So we can not only say we want to have a different column, but also choose the right column type. And even if we have a choice, we can even define those values here. So perhaps status is always a nice thing. And this has perhaps InDesign or just like completed or published. This is sweet. We will add the column and save the entire library. And this gets then added to the team as well. Next, I want to have an additional list. So what will I do about this? This is our issue tracker. And issue tracker means we need to, yeah, that's okay. We want to know who is this assigned to and who is the person. So that's the first column. Next thing would be the deadline. Oh yeah, that is the thing that we do not want to see usually. So that would be a date column, and we will save that list. And now it's already time for checkout. So you know that when you go shopping, you just like have the ability to review everything one time again. So if there is still something to do about it, you can edit this right here. So we will review everything that we did so far, and then of course submit this request to provision this team. And what now will happen is all this data will be written into the respecting Dataverse tables, and that will trigger our Logic apps.
Yes. And then let's go quickly into the Logic apps. We have multiple Logic apps to orchestrate the process of creating the team. And the magic is really in the main Logic app. The main logic apps takes care of getting the data from Dataverse and then doing things with that data. So our main logic app is sort of the director of the orchestra, which determines when a team is created by kicking off a child flow, which creates the team, and then it takes the information from that child flow to continue and create the lists and libraries. We are running out of time, so I don't have time to go into further detail now. But if you want to know more, you can go to ProvisionGenie.com if this wants to save. And you can find there the link to where this is stored on GitHub, so that you can deploy it on your own tenant, play with it a bit more, and go into more detail if you want to.
Wonderful. I have tons of questions, and I'm sure our audience too. So let's go see in the chat. Thank you.
So cool. Frank, I feel like you customized this whole show just for me. We started off with racing, telemetry, then we went into teams, chat ops, and now we're talking about logic apps.
Now that you say it.
Carmen, Luise, that was really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, so cool. So I got a question. Like, obviously, I thought of a bunch of ideas as you were showing that demo off, but and you answered my first question is, can we go see the instructions and see the logic app? And it's nice that you can just go to the website and check it all out. But I'm curious what you think comes next for ProvisionGenie. Like, what's in the future? Do you have any features in mind that you want to add soon?
I think we have a list of a very, very long list of features, and we will, of course, continuously deliver them. So next thing would be linking all those libraries and lists to specific channels, having more than one library and one list, as well as just like easing things up, and of course more features like pinning a OneNote to the team, or just like having even more tabs in the team, something like that.
Excellent.
That's cool.
Looking forward to it.
And we have a question from Michael, who's on the show, but using the public chat to ask a question. So I like that. So, like, you know, he's watching the show. So Michael is asking, like, does ProvisionGenie require an Azure subscription? So you mentioned you're using multiple Azure resources. That I'm talking, you know, Logic App. So do you need as a user to have a subscription, or it runs in someone else's subscription?
So your organization needs to have an Azure subscription. Not every single user needs to have an Azure subscription, but your organization needs to have an Azure subscription so that we can deploy all those Azure resources into that subscription, so that your data is yours and we do not have any information from you other than if you forked our repository.
And, you know, adding to that, so I'm having Azure subscription. I'm deploying ProvisionGenie. I'm a little team. Should I prepare a huge budget? Do you think like it will cost a lot in terms of resources? I have probably my idea because it's a Logic app, but
No,
No.
it's not that expensive. It's consumption based, of course. And I remember that when I first started the project and I did a couple of runs, my bill at the end of the month was like €1 or something. It really wasn't a lot, and I did test quite a lot. So it's not. I would say that it's not that expensive.
Okay, well, like it's good, like because it's consumption based and it's only the Logic app, and like there's a few little things, and like people should expect a very low budget. That's nice. Obviously, depends on what people are doing with it, but that's always cool.
Yeah.
Teams creating teams. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. I like, you know, did you notice how like smooth and it looks really kind of embedded and everything? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, we were using Teams UI toolkits to really have this super Teams native look and feel, and we really wanted this to be just like a really good user experience, so that people could not tell that this is a Power Apps Canvas app as a front end.
And did you see the community doing a lot of interactivity with you right now on your GitHub repo?
Yeah, so we have the first contributors on it and already implemented some features together with community. So, and we are of course looking forward to having even more contributors. So we intended this to be an open source project because we believe that development is a team sport and we want to learn from others and we want to share our learnings as well. So if you feel like it's provisiongenie.com.
Awesome. Like obviously all the links are in the show notes. Oh damn, Ryan, you're good. Ryan isn't fired today. Ryan is our producer. Excellent. I think we should move on to the next segment, Jason. So who is our next guest?
Yeah, so now we're going to moving right along. We're going to have Michael come up and talk to us about some really cool things going on with HoloLens. Hi, Michael.
Hello, how's it going?
Thanks for being here. Why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Michael Luer. I work for a consulting firm, a Microsoft partner called Dynamic Consulting. And one of my special projects I've been tasked with is working with Microsoft HoloLens and the Dynamics 365 Remote Assist platform. So I've been having a lot of fun with it.
Awesome. So I got a chance to put on a HoloLens back in 2019, and it just blew my mind. I'm really excited to see what you're going to show us as far as the demo here today. So I don't know, Frank, should we just dive right into our pre-recorded?
Let's do it. Let's roll the video. Okay, Michael, I need to tell you, I'm not a mechanic. Are we fixing a car? What are we doing today?
Well, I have a recording of me fixing a car because doing a live video or live HoloLens demo of it can be kind of tricky. But yes, I have a demonstration of me using a HoloLens to fix a car.
Excellent.
I know enough to be dangerous, but sometimes I need a little bit of help. So the demo I have here is me reaching out for help to get remote assistance to finish fixing my car.
Ah, that's awesome. So let's bring that video and we can watch it. I'm assuming you will pause at some point to explain a few things.
Exactly. Because I realize this is going to be an intro to HoloLens for some people. So I want to explain some of the holographicness of it and why it's important.
Okay, let's do it.
Fantastic. Thank you. So I just wanted to pause here real quick to show, just to start off with, the HoloLens is completely holographic, hands-free, in the sense I don't need a keyboard or a mouse. And the start menu is right on my wrist. I have a little start menu. And when I launched Remote Assist, you'll see right here all these cool little polygons or triangles. They're graphing or mapping out the environment. I already have my tire off. I'm already in trouble. So this is where I'm calling my friend for help.
Okay.
And then just real quick, the Dynamics Remote Assist app that I'm using right here is pretty much like a glorified Teams meeting. So the contacts I see here are built into the Microsoft 365 world. So these are just contacts I've already communicated with over Teams, which is why they're up here and up front.
Okay, that's cool. Really look like you're clicking the button.
Yeah.
Hey, Kimmy, how you doing?
Hey, Michael, how are you?
And so on the one half of the screen, that is my coworker, Kimmy. Just like a Teams meeting, she is on half the screen. My proper view is on the other side, where you can see part of my car and the floating interface to see her. So it's a nice video feed on both sides.
Cool.
Doing all right. I'm working on my car, and I could use a second opinion on my brake pads. Do you have a moment you could help me?
Of course.
All right. Give me a second here. Let me finish taking off my caliper. I think I'm at the spot now in my brake life where I think I need new brake pads. But I could just use a second opinion.
Not a problem.
All right. All right. Can you see them okay here?
I can.
I'm kind of thinking I do need brakes. They look kind of thin.
They are. I would say that you need new brake pads.
So right here, this is the spot where I'm most comfortable with. I've replaced my brakes before, but what I'm horrible at remembering are torque specs. So if anyone in the mechanic world doesn't know, torque specs, you can't just tighten up nuts and bolts as hard as possible. You got to at least put them to the right spec. And that's where Kim is going to help me out here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. Unfortunately, I don't have any with me. I'll have to go to the store and buy some. I'm going to throw my caliper back on. Can you look up the torque specs for me, or the caliper bolts? I don't remember what I need to set that to.
Absolutely. Okay, I found them. Let me send you a screenshot in our chat.
Awesome. Thank you.
Now, the HoloLens is a device that does sit on your head. So you do see it moving around a lot. And that's just me moving around. I'm a very animated person, and I just move a lot naturally. So I'm trying to slow down my head movements as I go through this.
So like the first interface, I have the Teams meeting, but it's not Teams. The assistants, like it is pinned somewhere, so it stays. So it's not always in front of you. Like you could say stay there, and so you're free.
Exactly. And so in a moment, I'm going to look back to where Kimmy is, and you'll see her as well as the image she's about to attach for me.
I see it pulling up now.
That's
all
cool.
right.
And so
just move this out of the way a little bit.
Just as I say, I can move it around and pin it to wherever I need it to be.
Okay, brake pads. Where are the torque specs on it, though?
Let me highlight that for you.
Oh
my gosh, I am so blind. I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay, 19 foot-pounds. Okay, give me just a second here. Let me get these bolts done and get my wheel back on, just in case I need anything else. Bear with me here.
And thankfully, I do have the proper tools to safely reassemble my car.
Yeah.
Got my torque wrench here. Looks like it's already set to the right amount. Sorry for all the noise. Not a lot of room to work with here.
Is there some tracking? The other side. Because I see dots and lines.
Yeah, so that is following my fingers.
Oh man, I should have done it from this way to begin with.
Okay, the interface is tracking your fingers?
Exactly, because you can use your fingers to remotely
19
move
pounds.
stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna get the bottom one finished.
And there is some basic eye tracking as well.
Yeah, probably, right?
Mm-hmm. So in some interfaces, you can look at what you want and say it, and it will voice activate what you're doing.
Perfect. Okay. Let me just quickly check see if I have the torque specs for my wheels real quick, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So I'll move the brake specs out of the way and in fact close it because I no longer need it. And built in, I already had the specs for my wheels, so I'm going to pull that up myself.
Wheels. Oh, yeah, of course, there it is. Well, now I know for next time to have my brake specs with me the next time I do this. Oh man, you're a lifesaver. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time today.
No problem. Good luck on your car.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to need it. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And so what's nice is that the interface feels like you have to physically interact with it. So I do have to go out and touch the buttons and move stuff around. So it's really a hands-on kind of experience.
I really love it. I'm just curious to see what's the chat as, so let's go join us.
Fantastic. Sounds good.
That was awesome. And
So
you're
good.
good because rewatching that video, I was thinking, damn, like it's hard to not move your head and try to fix the car and But
Yeah, that's one of the things I've noticed with first-time wearers of a HoloLens or any head-mounted camera. A lot of people don't realize how much they move their head.
and I have glasses. You have glasses. Is it hard to use the HoloLens? Like, is it hard to demo that? Is it hard to use in real
No,
life?
it's so easy because it's made for people of varying eyesights. So it just easily sits right on top of my glasses. It doesn't even push down on them, and it's really comfortable. So in some situations, people have to do like extra safety glasses even, and it works with that too.
Okay, so like there's plenty of room in front of you to like have that interface. That's cool.
Exactly. Yep.
So people were reacting, cool stuff, cool demo. in
So
the chat.
Michael, I know Frank earlier mentioned to me he's still looking for last minute gift ideas for me. And the HoloLens was something I mentioned I wouldn't mind having. What's the cost of entry to do something like this? Like, how do I get one of these at home for myself?
It's just several easy payments of $5 over the next several years. The HoloLens is a little expensive.
Yeah.
The retail value on a HoloLens is $3,500. It's an expensive piece of technology that isn't connected to another computer. So it's not like virtual reality, like a Oculus that you have to have connected to a computer or computer running it.
Oh, yeah.
The HoloLens is completely standalone.
Yeah.
Oh, it is the computer. It's true.
Exactly. It's running a slimmed down version of Windows 10, and it's all built in back here. So a little expensive, yes, but the payoff has a lot more applications than just my little demo.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of use cases, especially for remote helping like that. You know, like if somebody needs help on their truck, I'm much more interested in helping from the comfort of my basement or my couch than, you know, climbing underneath their vehicle. That's going to be, a game changer. Just that.
Well, and one of the things with the whole COVID pandemic, I'm seeing a lot of technicians in the manufacturing world not able to go fix the machines at client sites.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're not even able to enter, well, they could just mail a HoloLens, have someone there put it on, and they could instruct them using both their hands to work on tools and move stuff around, how to fix things. So it saves time, it saves money, and for places you can't even travel to, you send in a device instead.
Very interesting. So to all the details, you will find all that in the show notes. So if you want to get started with your HoloLens, the code or everything, all the references are in the show notes. So, and if you have more questions, Michael will now be in the chat. It's time to move to our next segment with Scott Ensenman and, I don't want to make any mistake, Daisy Murillo. Damn it. Come, help me, Jason.
One of those is wrong.
One of them. I like that.
We've got Scott and Daisy with us for our next.
Yeah, Daisy. So Daisy and Scott are sharing some thoughts about TikTok. So let's watch that.
Hey friends, I'm Scott Hanselman and it's File New Project, and today I'm chatting with Daisy Murillo. Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Well, I'm pretty
How you
happy to be
doing?
talking to you because you are one of my primary sources of tech news on TikTok. You're reading the news to me like basically every day. Today you told me all about the new GitHub issues beta and all kinds of news. When did you get the idea to do the news for tech on TikTok?
Yeah, I think this was something very recent. I've always liked being on top of any tech trends, especially for coding software. So I really visit a lot of news sites. My primary is Hacker News, and I just like sharing very odd yet interesting news that's current and that people would enjoy, I think. So it was quite recent when I got the idea. I don't know when
Have
specifically.
you found the
but-
culture and the people on TikTok to be welcoming and they really like your news?
Yes, actually, a lot of people have been giving good feedback. I think some people are like, I like this new content. I like this new style. And I mean, I like it too. If they like it, I'll definitely continue
How long
it.
did it take you to kind of like get your vibe? Because right now you have a pretty good standard thing. You have like your your little microphone and you put your camera in a certain way. It's all set up. How many tries did it take to figure this out?
Well, I got on TikTok last year in November, and I was doing kind of the basic following trends, doing the voiceovers, and I don't know, I didn't really enjoy it. I did that for a couple of months, and I started kind of recording myself in the mirror, just talking. And then those conversations that I was having, I think at first I was focusing on culture, people in tech, and it's just slowly transitioned to tech news, which is another one of my interests. So I think probably like a month or two ago, I think that's where I decided to stick to this format. And I like having high quality, I prefer the audio to be of higher quality as well, camera, etc.
And the link in your TikTok goes to a Discord. Is that your Discord? Are you building a community outside of TikTok as well?
Yes, so I do have a Discord server for people who just want to know more about computer science and just trying to find a group to just share anything related to computer science. I want it to be a very welcoming server, so it is for my
I thought it was pretty cool.
server.
I checked it out just earlier today, and there's like 25 people in there, like right now, like doing stuff already online. Even as you and I are having this conversation, there's people helping each other learn computer science.
Yeah, I think it's very, I want everyone there, they try to be friends with each other. I think it's a very amicable place and friendly. So it's just, for anyone.
Let me ask you
really.
this, though. Why do this at all? Like, you could just go to work and like punch out and like watch Netflix. Why give back? Why put good free information out there into the world?
I've always been a believer of giving back to the community ever since I was very young. In high school, I've always volunteered. And I just think it's important to put out anything positive that you have, any knowledge that you have, you should share it, because you not only help others, but you're also multiplying your own knowledge at the same time. And I'm just a very firm believer of sharing. Whether one person sees it or 100 or thousands, you can impact one person.
It's a really good
at a
attitude.
time.
I've always said that if one other person that's not me sees my video, I've doubled my reach. So like you've got almost 10,000 people watching this now. So
Exactly.
you're getting huge, good karma out there as you put this information out.
Yes,
Yeah.
I really hope so.
Do you think you're going to be able to keep up with it? Like sometimes people start and then they start and they're like, it's too much work to be on content every day, maybe twice a week, or how are you not going to burn out?
Right. So I do try to give myself a little bit of a break. I don't think it's realistic for me to be posting every day because, let's face it, I have a job, I still go to school. So I do this whenever I have downtime. I don't think I will ever stop sharing. If it's not on TikTok, I'll probably be on some online forum sharing something that I learned, or posting on Stack Overflow. I think I will never stop, really trying to teach and try to connect with others.
Well, I hope
really.
that you never stop. You can check out Daisy at tiktok.com/@DaisyMurray. Daisy Murillo, and she's also got a link to her Discord. We'll make sure that we have all those links. Thanks for hanging out today on Hello World.
Frank, yeah, as you know, most of the things I watch on TikTok are cat related, but I'm learning that there's a lot of really great technical content out there, and I think Daisy's a really good example of that. So looking forward to learning more about what she's sharing.
Yes. A lot of very interesting stuff she's sharing. Time is flying. We need to jump straight away to the next guest. So who is he?
Yeah, let's bring on our next guest, Aaron. Hi, Aaron. How you doing?
Hey, Jason. Hey, Frank. How you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for being here. Before we jump into our demo, why don't you just give the audience just a quick little bit of info about yourself?
Sure. My name's Aaron LeBeau. I'm a developer advocate at Couchbase, and we make a very highly scalable database engine. And we also have a embedded database platform called Couchbase Lite, which works really great with mobile applications and edge devices.
Excellent. All right. Well, I understand you're here to share some stuff about gRPC with us. So
That's correct.
Maybe we'll just dive right into the video, and then we'll ask some questions after.
Sounds wonderful.
All right.
Haran, I know you're all about on edge and like real fast response time and everything. And you told me you have a perfect demo to show me that. I want to know more.
Oh, awesome. So Frank, thanks for having me on the show. So as we know, Azure Edge Zones are a lot of flexible low latency solutions to be built and deployed to Azure Edge Zones. With carriers such as Verizon or AT&T, you can also deploy them out to private Edge Zones. It's really kind of cool when you start going down this. However, when you start going down this rabbit hole of how do I get better performance, you have to look at other things like your tech stack. So I did this research recently, and I was very, very shocked at seeing the word come up over and over again, gRPC. gRPC is a high-performance remote procedure call framework with bidirectional streaming using HTTP version 2 for its transport. You can send and receive information synchronously, asynchronously, or via streams. There's really large companies using this, people like Netflix, Square, Cisco, Dropbox, and Google. And the cool thing about it is that it's built into .NET. It's actually been around for a while. Since .NET Core 3, we've had support for this. Now with ASP.NET 6 and all the performance improvements we see there, bringing gRPC in, it's an amazing story to kind of see. So I built a demo real quick to show you this off. And I do have Visual Studio for the Mac up and running on my computer. If you want to take a look at it, I can show you some code.
Yeah, let's look at it.
Excellent. So everything starts in ASP.NET, and this is on the Mac, by the way, but .NET runs everywhere, so it's awesome. So I've got my program.cs file up and running here. This is for ASP.NET, and you can see here, this is no smoke and mirrors. This is the standard setup of ASP.NET Core. There's a couple things here. I'm set up Kestrel. This should look normal to .NET developers. Here's our magical line. This goes out through and adds a gRPC service and gets it set up to run. Okay, this reads in my configuration. It sets up my database connection because in this demo, we're not going to just look at mock data. We're going to look at real data from a database server because that's where we can start to see latency and see how we can improve on things. So this is boilerplate.NET code here. We have a builder. We're mapping up a service. And then you can see here, this is, if somebody goes to this in your browser, your regular browser, this route basically will tell them, hey, you can't use a browser. You have to use a client. And that's how gRPC works. Even though it's using HTTP version 2, you have to use a client to talk to it. Okay, so let's take a look at really what is gRPC? How do you set up like a protocol file? So you can see here, this is a protocol file and what it looks like. Now, I'm going to help some C# developers out here. So one, the format could look kind of crazy, but if you look here, I have links to the Microsoft documentation that explains the entire format for you. However, if you look at that word service, this is a contract. So that in C# would be the word interface. If we look at that word RPC, that's basically defining like a function or a method call. So this file, we're going to define an interface that basically will get auto-generated an abstract class for us, and it's going to generate some methods based on these RPCs. Now, this right here, these particular things, request for the document and the quest, these are what they call messages. And these are just like structs or classes or data classes in C#. And when you define these, it's going to auto-generate all the C# code for you. How crazy is that? We literally are getting code generation where once I build this file and I click the build button, it's going to generate code for me. That's pretty amazing.
That's really amazing.
It is.
And Aaron, like when we were chatting earlier, you mentioned also the name. Like you have a variable at the top, and you say that it's better when you don't have the underscore or dash.
Correct.
That was a good gotcha. I didn't know that. So
yeah. So up in your namespace here, you really have to watch out for that. It needs to map your C# project, and I highly recommend staying away from things like dashes and underscores because it can kind of screw up the auto-generated code sometimes. And so just watch your naming conventions, and it's all explained in Microsoft Docs. But absolutely don't forget that part because it'll get you. It'll throw you for a little loop a few times.
Yeah, you could lose precious seconds or minutes or hours searching for that.
Absolutely. So once we have this protocol file, what ends up happening is I do a build one time and it generates me an abstract class. So then all I have to do is implement that abstract class. So here I have my implementation. It's right here. You see, this is the name of the class that the compiler automatically built for me, part of code generation. And you see here, it's called Quest Service. We saw that earlier in our protocol buffer file. That's what it looked like. And here's the methods that I defined there in the RPC. So here's a get quest. Here's a get quests. And it takes in that same quest request that we had there earlier. That was a message. And then this is just standard C# code that I implement to talk to my database. So with that, let's take a look at the client talking to the server so we can kind of see what does this kind of look like. So in the client code, I do want to show you one thing here. So inside of our CS proj file, when we implement the client, there is no code generation for you out of the box without you having to add an entry into the CS proj file. Okay, so, and this is only on VS Code. On VS Visual Studio for Mac and PC, if you copy this file in, it will make this entry for you. However, when you look at the file definition here, you need to make sure on the client, very specifically, it says the word client instead of server. Otherwise, the code that it generates will be the wrong code. So that's a gotcha also. It's also explained really well in the docs. But if we look at this, the really cool thing is that all the code to talk to the server is generated for you then once you do a build. You can see here's my channel, and that's how I connect to my server. Now I'm going to run this locally so we can kind of see this in action. And then what ends up happening is that once you connect to this channel and your client code, I'm just going to use my little pull down list here to see all my methods. I'm just going to go into the get quests. You'll see here the line of code to do this is just basically one line of code right here. Get quest async. I add a timeout, and that's it. It's all said and done. So let's take a look at the client running real quick here. I'm going to go to my command prompt and just do .NET run. And the client should come up and running here. Now, the first time it runs, it's going to be slow because of the fact that it takes the handshake process. So you see here in the information window, it says 170 milliseconds. However, after you do your very first refresh, well, you're going to find 19 milliseconds. That is lightning fast. And this is pulling data live from the database. And I can then go through and look at all the different records. And it's literally like instantaneously 19 milliseconds. I've seen it as low as like 9 to 10 milliseconds. This is amazing pieces of technology that you can use. And the cool thing is you're reusing all that .NET, all the C# skills you have. And because this is just ASP.NET, really easy to deploy into Azure. Really easy to deploy into Azure. So that's gRPC. I highly recommend if anybody's looking at edge computing, looking at Azure Edge, take a look at this as maybe it's a better tool than using something like REST APIs or things like GraphQL. Those are great tools also, but this is another tool to add to your toolbox.
Yeah, it always depends also what's your scenario. If like if the response time has like a major impact, or like if it's not that.
Absolutely. Companies like gaming companies, people in the financial industry and healthcare services and stuff, these industries really are looking for those low latency things. And services like gRPC could really give you a big performance boost on that.
Wonderful. So all the link you provide will be in the show note. So down below, go there. All the link are there. But now let's go see the chat and answers a few questions. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you, Frank.
So cool, Aaron. Hey,
Okay.
We've got just enough time for maybe one or two more questions here
Sure.
before we say goodbye today. So let me get right to it. I have a couple technical questions. First one that
Sure.
came to mind is, can you use this stuff with Xamarin Forms?
Jason, that's a really good question. There's a lot of Xamarin developers out there to use it. The answer is yes, you can. Now, however, with Xamarin Forms, at least in version 5, what you're going to have to do is make sure that when you read the documentation really clearly, you want to use the gprc.web NuGet package, and then the gPRC tools version has to be a very specific version. Otherwise, you're going to run a bug with Xamarin. In the show notes, we'll put an actual link to that so that you actually can see what version of the tools, the gPRC tools NuGet package you should use. But that actually resolves this issue. And then at that point in time, absolutely, you can use gPRC with Xamarin Forms.
Okay, great. And then one other. Sorry, Frank, I don't want to steal your thunder or your screen time here, but what if I have a new Mac? What about the new M1 processors?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I did all the demo on my, this is an M1 MacBook Pro I'm actually running on right now. So it runs great. A couple things. So Visual Studio for the Mac right now today in preview is running in Rosetta, it's called, which means it just kind of emulates an Intel processor. It runs absolutely phenomenal. Honestly, it works better than my old i9 Core. The other thing to watch out for with when you're debugging on a Mac specifically, there is a configuration file change you need to do to turn off TLS because that's not supported today on the Mac. It's not really a big deal when you're debugging because I know you're going to say, whoa, there, no security then? That's not true. Most people would also deploy to Linux anyways in production. So if you look at my code example, what I do is I just check if I'm in a development environment. And if so, I just tell Kestrel, turn off TLS for right now so I can debug on my Mac. So these are all covered really well in the docs, and we'll have that in the show notes also.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for sharing.
Hey, no problem.
And we are already at the end of the show. So I want to bring everybody in the screen because I want you to see their Twitter account and like names. All those community members are available there online on Twitter, LinkedIn. All those links, I need to put S's at the end of my words, are available in the show notes. And so reach them if you have any question, ask them. I'm sure they will be very happy, right, to answer you.
Absolutely.
If not, they will say yes because they are very active in the community. That's why they are on the Hello World, because they like sharing. Big thanks to all of you for that time coming, recording the demo, struggling with camera share and like HoloLens and all those tech issue we had recording those demo. It was fantastic having you on the show. Very happy. And with that, I will say to everybody, have a good day, end of day, and see you at the next episode of Hello World. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.